Hey there, gang. David here from Do It Marketing, and I want to do a breakdown of the 17 top things that most mid-career speakers need to prepare for, need to face, need to overcome and break through if they want to have lasting success, underline lasting success, as an expert who speaks professionally. So I went out to a couple of our community groups and online groups and National Speakers Association group and a couple of consulting groups, a couple of LinkedIn groups, and I collected some of these problems. And so I want to give credit where credit's due. I want to read out what some people put, very, very smart advice on what some of these problems might be. And then to solve these problems, I'm also going to invite you to hop onto our masterclass coming up, midcareerspeaker.com. There it is, midcareerspeaker.com. Midcareerspeaker.com is where you're going to grab our a seat for our Mid-Career Speaker Survival Kit. Mid-Career Speaker Survival Kit Masterclass coming up. All right, so let's go right to the stuff here. David Lim popped in the suggestion that stagnation is one of the big obstacles. Stagnation in creating new content and or stagnation in business development, specifically financial plateaus. So I guess that's 3 right there from my friend David Lim. Stagnation in creating new content. We're absolutely going to talk about that during the masterclass. Stagnation in business development and financial plateaus. Super, super important that you do not fall prey to that. You do not let yourself fall into a stagnation black hole. My buddy Andy Masters, CSP, says, I'd stay getting stuck in a niche. Now listen to this, what Andy says. I'd say getting stuck in a niche or even typecast in an industry that they have just about worn out. So this has to do with success leading to success, leading to success, leading to failure, right? There's a great saying that a bend in the road is never fatal unless you fail to turn. So if you're going 100 miles an hour and you see a curve coming up on the highway, you better turn the car. Otherwise, you crash into the median, you crash into the barrier, and your speaking career might be sitting there in big gaseous flames. Always wanted to use the word gaseous in a Facebook Live. Now I got a chance to do that. The next one from my buddy Coleen Sweeney, settling for the status quo or just settling. Settling for the business that falls in your lap, settling for your current marketing, settling for, basically settling or coasting. And we're going to absolutely address all of these things in the masterclass. You're going to go grab your seat when you go to midcareerspeaker.com. Cher Holden says, generating new clients. We get so involved with current clients, and then your key people retire or leave. All of a sudden, you realize your pipeline has dried up. The fear kicks in. Fear of making those calls, fear that you're too old, fear your material isn't techy enough, fear that you're out of sync, fear that you're out of date. How to prevent that from happening, and thank you, Cher, for putting all those great words to paper for this research. We're going to talk about exactly how to avoid that situation, and when you find yourself in that situation, how to beat back that fear, so that you get back in control of the situation sooner rather than later. Beth Aziz, fantastic comment here. Beth shared, in mental health, doing the same thing and expecting different results is crazy. In sales, doing the same thing and expecting the same results is crazy. And you have to think about that. It's a very smart piece of advice. It's about arrogance and complacency and the law of diminishing returns. If you've always done what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always got. Whatever that saying is. The problem is in sales, it is going to be diminishing returns. So whatever you were doing 8 years ago, 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, if it worked great then, it's probably not going to work that well today. Because either technology has moved on, the marketplace has moved on, maybe your messaging should have moved on, but in a sales mode, sales tactics, sales strategies, yes, some of those are evergreen, but a lot of them used to work 15 years ago, aka make 100 cold calls a day. They used to work 10 years ago, spamming your entire network on LinkedIn, right? The things that used to work today, because of the changing landscape, changing cultural norms, just the way that people are wired, the way that buyers and prospects are wired today, might be very, very different, and you're keeping on putting the round hole in the square peg, and that's getting more and more and more frustrating. So you don't want to do that. And the solution to stop doing that, we will talk about when you go to midcareerspeaker.com and sign up for the masterclass. All right, Pegeen, super smart advice here. She has about 5 or 6 things. Number 1, stopping what was working and not realizing it, right? So some of the foundational basic blocking and tackling, those principle-based things that have always worked, we've moved away from those because we think, well, I'm not a beginner anymore. I don't need to build relationships. I'm not a beginner anymore. I don't need to add value. I'm not a beginner anymore. I don't need to stay relevant. And of course you do. Adding new toys without keeping the basics, Pegeen also said. Thinking more is needed and not realizing that things are good enough as they are. So change for the sake of change. Tweeting your brains out, blogging your brains out, doing a whole bunch of marketing monkey work that you don't need to be doing. Not writing a new business plan and or clarifying what your business is today. And then Pegeen also says getting jaded and assessing the most important question, are you happy? Are you happy with your business? Are you happy with your topic? Are you happy with your positioning? Are you happy with your fees? Are you happy with your market? Are you happy just on a personal, professional, financial level with everything about your business? Steve Gamelin said, one word, complacency. Early success with a speech or program can cause one to not continue building and developing new material for a changing audience. We risk becoming a band who tours on its hits instead of going into the studio to record a new album. Can still bring in the old fans for a while, but you're not breaking any new ground. Super smart. And we're going to address that entire series of problems also on the masterclass. My friend Erica Garms says being stuck, limited by one's self-image, and it takes intentional and committed effort to expand the self-image that we want to grow into. So smart, so important, guys. You know, there's a Dennis Waitley quote that is super, super relevant here. And Dennis Waitley says, it's not who you are that holds you back. It is who you think you're not. Let me repeat that for you because it speaks directly to Erica's point. It's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. I couldn't possibly charge that much. I can't possibly say that on stage. I can't possibly write a book on that topic, right? Imposter syndrome starts to kick in. I'm not big enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not smart enough. Who am I to be an expert on this topic? I just pivoted into this a year ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it might be. My buddy Avish Parashar had some really smart things to say about the mid-career doldrums. My personal experience, says Avish, number 1, breaking through the current plateau, both in terms of gross revenue and fee level. Number 2, adding in new offerings and new content that force us to let go of what has been working well. Number 3, adding in new revenue streams that are aligned with our brand while not neglecting marketing and serving our current income streams. And then number 4, increasing efficiency so that as I get busier speaking, the marketing and selling and business development side of things doesn't feel like it's a grind. Wow, 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 wow. So Avish nailed about about 2/3 of the topics that we're going to talk about on this masterclass. Avish just went bam, 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 bam. So yes, to all of those things, and we're going to take a deep dive into this at midcareerspeaker.com when you get signed up for this. I'll share a couple more with you, and then I'm just going to whet your whistle and whet your appetite to join us for the full masterclass. My buddy David Avrin says complacency in terms of outbound sales and marketing. So huge, so important. Most simply don't do it and then wonder why they can't get the phone to ring. Then they quit and go get a real job. Or as we say on our team, throw on the green apron and go work at Starbucks. And which is terrible. I mean, that's not a fate that you want to envision for yourself. Thom Singer says raising visibility and reputations to a higher level. It is very common to grow and then plateau. Very smart advice from Tom. And then Jared Bro says scaling and breaking through from good to great. Hell, that's still me after 15 years. I still have not mastered outbound sales for keynotes, says Jared. So dialing that in, scaling and mastering outbound sales, those two things alone will change the game for mid-career speakers. Mark Smith says getting stuck with a stale signature story and a 3-point speech. My customers tell me that many speakers deliver content that is old and tired, naming names that NSA considers legendary. We must reinvent, update, freshen, and renew. My customers expect new stories and new principles and new training every time, and 30 points which they handle with ease. So don't back off on the content. Don't dumb it down. Don't oversimplify, right? Today, people want meat. They want meat. They want freshness. They want application. They want variety. They want relevance. Very, very important to keep your content up to date. So, if you want more strategies on all sides of these issues that a typical mid-career speaker is wrestling with, and by the way, mid-career to me means you're in the business between 3 and 10 years, and you're making, give or take, between $75K and $200K, and you want to break through. You want to reignite, reboot, reinvent, reimagine what your speaking, training, consulting, or coaching business might be using all 17 of these strategies that I just shared. We're going to have a deep dive masterclass coming right up. Grab your seat right now at midcareerspeaker.com. I will see you over there. Do not be shy. Do not be shy. Get over there. midcareerspeaker.com. Okay. See you guys there. Bye-bye.